Welcome back to another Beast Game podcast. We're going to go ahead and review Ghostbusters. It's directed by Paul Feig, who started out doing television. He directed Bridesmaid, The Heat, and Spy. It's written by Kate Diopold, who's written for Mad TV, Parks and Recs, and also wrote The Heat. Paul Feig is also listed as a writer. It stars Kirsten Wiig, who was on Saturday Night Live. She's been in Bridesmaids with Paul Feig and How to Train Your Dragon. Melissa McCarthy, who has starred in Mike and Molly, Gilmore Girls, Bridesmaid, and Spy. Kate McKinnon, who has been in Saturday Night Live. And last, Leslie Jones, who has been in Saturday Night Live, Chris Rock's Top 5, which was a good movie, and Trainwreck. The summary is, following the ghost invasion of Manhattan, paranormal enthusiasts Aaron Gilbert and Abby Yates, nuclear engineer Jillian Holtzman, and subway worker Patty Tolman band together to stop the otherworldly threat. So, Matt, what did you think of Ghostbusters?
I won't say I liked it. Although they made
Chris Hemsworth.
they made him dumb as rocks.
Yeah, I
No
guess
one
that.
can be that stupid.
Well, in a comedy, you can.
But this was action.
Well, it was a comedy, but
So hold on, was he the stupid pretty guy?
well, he was the assistant. So I guess in the original Ghostbusters, it was Janine.
It was like
but
Janine.
was
Yeah.
competent. In this one, he is a complete idiot. So he's just more there for comedic relief in a comedy that doesn't really need comedic relief.
Didn't need it.
Well,
It's overkill.
Well, let me talk about my issues with the movie. So it's a watchable movie, but I question if it's actually a fun movie. The big things for me is that the comedic timing didn't work well. A lot of the jokes kind of run on too long. The other jokes kind of fall flat because everyone's over talking and just ad-libbing. So there's a lot of segments where people are just ranting on and the rant is supposed to be funny and it's really not, because rather than making a very tight package for comedy, well, I'm just going to keep talking. I'm going to just keep talking. Yeah, talking is funny. Well, really, no, it's not. And then there was chemistry between the main cast, but the end jokes between themselves weren't really effective. So other than that, other issue I have with the movie is just that kind of tonally it's just negative, because in the original Ghostbusters, they were kind of like the heroes of New York, and like this one, everyone's doubting them, and then also trying to hide the fact that they're fighting ghosts, which really didn't make sense to me, because again, with the original Ghostbusters, they were heroes, and in this one, no one's supposed to know that they are actually saving the city, which seems completely backwards to me. And then, like you said about Chris Hemsworth, is that his character is just insanely stupid, which the joke was funny when he showed up for an interview, but after that, it was just not very good. And he comes into play towards the end of the movie, which kind of questioned his role in it. How would you compare this to the original Ghostbusters?
They paid homage to it, great, but the natural chemistry between the characters that Ghostbusters did, this does not compare at all. It seemed like 4 individual characters that were in a movie, whereas
So none of them had any chemistry. Not even two. Two of them had chemistry, or
Well, I would say Kirsten Wiig's character and Melissa McCarthy's character had chemistry.
Yes.
Just because they had been in another Paul Feig movie, which was Bridesmaids.
yeah. So they already had they had prior chemistry and just brought over from that to this.
Yeah. And other than that, Leslie Jones's character is a typical movie New Yorker, which also didn't really find it funny. But I think with the original Ghostbusters, you just had distinct characters. Everyone just wasn't trying to be funny. And in this one, everyone's trying to be funny. Overall, it's a decent watchable movie. It's not terrible. It's good when they have callbacks to the original, but it's trying to do something different, and it works in a certain way, but it doesn't work well. And I think that's my issues with the movie. So let me go look at the budget information. I think we talked about that last week on the budget review
Okay,
podcast.
so let me ask you a question since you're looking that up. So these four characters, these new Ghostbusters, you say they paid homage. Like, how exactly did they even mention what happened in the city in the first original
No,
Ghostbusters?
I would say that this is
It's a totally new
separate,
story.
separate universe.
Yeah, it's a separate
Okay.
universe.
So Bill
Okay.
Murray is in the movie. Like I said, it's a spoiler, maybe not a spoiler. He might be in the trailer somewhere, but the movie's been out long enough. But he is in the movie playing a different character. He's playing a person that wants to debunk the fact that there's ghosts,
There's
Wow.
no such thing.
and his character offers to come there and to come see ghosts, and basically he gets possessed and like thrown out a window. I think that's what happened to him.
Okay.
Let's look at the box office stats. So domestically, it's pulled in $88 million. Foreign is $36 million, with a worldwide gross of $124 million, and the budget is $144 million. It's probably going to be in the theaters at least for like another 2 weeks before, because this weekend you have Jason Bourne, and also Suicide Squad comes up the next weekend.
I'm actually
So-
excited for that.
Yeah, so that might be one that we may have to do a day of podcast. Yeah, Ghostbusters is making decent money. It might make back its budget.
Other than making back its budget, it's not going to really have much profit. It's going to just break even with maybe a slight gain. Is that what you're saying? That's what you think?
It may reach 150 million at some point. It's at 124 million, so you give it this weekend where it might pull in maybe about 10 to 12 million, and then the next weekend where it may do the same thing, it's close to 150 million. Australia and the United Kingdom have done about $6 million for Ghostbusters. Everything else is pretty minimal.
In essence, this is kind of a dud. I mean, if it made this much and you believe that it's going to possibly make its money back, but not much profit, it's a dud. 'Cause I'm quite sure they had way bigger expectations for this.
Yeah, I think one of the problems with the movie for me is that Paul Feig relies on working with the same people. Melissa McCarthy, who's been in more than one Paul Feig movie. You have Kirsten Wiig, who's been in more than one Paul Feig movie. They're well-known names. Obviously, one a movie that has names in it. His need to work with the same people drags down this movie, because where there could be a little bit more better comedic timing with other actresses, that they could do something or pull off something better. But since he is writing in the same style that he's writing in the same style for Bridesmaids, he's writing in the same style for Spy, it just doesn't work out well. And I think that's part of the problem. I think he needs to do something differently. I think he needs to do something other than comedies, because it's starting to get a little tired.
So he just needs to try to expand because, from what you're saying, it seems like he's kind of typecasting himself, but not, I don't want to say typecast, but type directing himself and writing himself into these holes of doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, because he's doing comedy after comedy, and then
In
also
the same formula, like
in the same formula, working with the same people. It's
Gets you the same results.
it's redundant. It's very samey.
see,
And
it's funny you say that because, like, we were talking, like I said something earlier in one of the other podcasts that I think I was talking about James Wan. And I said that he kind of does the same thing over and over again, but each time he does it, he switches it up a little bit, slightly, but it's an improvement. So you're
Yeah.
saying that he needs to do that because I mean that's how I think. There's nothing wrong with having a set formula on how you direct or how you act, but you got to change it up. If not, you're just going to be known for that guy. You're going to be the Stifler. You're going to be
Yeah.
Sean William Scott. He
Yeah.
hasn't had any other roles outside something that was kind of like a Stifler character. You were known for that because you never changed it up. Like you had to change it up a lot, just slightly, but it has to be an improvement. And man, I haven't even seen this movie, and I kind of want to see it now, but I kind of want to. Then I kind of don't. I mean, if it's like his other movies, and I've seen his other movies, I don't want to see that.
If it shows up on HBO or shows up on Netflix, that's where you should likely go see it.
Oh God, man. Okay.
And again, it's not a terrible movie. It's
Mhm.
not a terrible movie. It's
But
not.
it's just the
it's not
formula.
without merit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's just the formula. That's what you're saying. The formula in which it is being shown.
Paul
Like,
Feig, Kirsten Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, comedy movie, Paul Feig writing. Those are the 5 elements that is his movie. And I just don't think it works. I think Hollywood is spitting out something because he gained some notoriety with TV shows, The Office, and I think he had also written for Arrested Development. But Bridesmaid was his breakout hit. And I wasn't too fond of that. And also wasn't too fond of The Heat. Spy was okay, but it's also the same.
Oh my God, yeah. All that's very similar.
Yeah. So
It's not
again,
changing at all.
at some point, Melissa McCarthy is over talking and going on and on about a joke that should have ended a minute before that. So let's get into some scores. Matt.
I would go with 7.5.
All right, and what justifies that 7.5?
Chemistry between characters and forced dialogue, and at times bland humor.
All right. And I'm going to give it a 6.5, mainly because, again, the movie is a decent movie. It's watchable. It has some nostalgia. It has some of what you want to see. Gives you that 1980s feel. But, again, it's kind of regurgitated, rehashed Paul Feig just with a different scenario. And, again, it's a watchable movie. And that's going to be the Beast Game Podcast.